Visible cracks are gradually appearing within Nigeria's ruling party. The All Progressives Congress ward congresses at the weekend were characterized by protests, boycotts, and the formation of parallel executives in some states. Some of the affected states include Kwara, Ekiti, Kano, Lagos, Imo, Oyo, Osun, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Delta, and Enugu. However, states such as Edo, Katsina, Jigawa, Niger, Ogun, and others elected through their ward leaders through a consensus arrangement as recommended by the National Secretariat of the party. Now, let's deepen this discussion as the former Senator Magnus Abe joins us now. Good to have you, Senator.
Now, good morning, and ma'am.
Good afternoon. Yes. It's fair to say that we've had discordant tones emanating from your party since the ruling by the Supreme Court recently on the Akeredolu issue. How do you feel this judgment has cast a shadow over the congresses that held this weekend?
I don't think the judgment by itself would have created any issues. I think the reaction of certain leaders within the party to the judgment and the fact that they made those reactions public even before we had time as a party, as a leadership of the party, to properly digest those issues created quite some uncertainty among our supporters across the country. But I think with the clear position of the Attorney General and other legal minds within the party, and the fact that the judgment itself did not directly affect the party in any way at this time, has put that matter somewhere in the back burner. And we can now begin to focus on the real challenges facing the party, which is lack of inclusion, and then the inability of godfathers within the party to respect the rules of the game and treat other members of the party with dignity. I think that's the main challenge facing the party at this time.
All right, Senator. Now let's talk about the party's caretaker chairman, talking about Governor Mai Mala Buni. And talk to me, I want to find out from you. The fact that he's still the chairman of the party at the moment, does it portend well for the party going forward, understanding that some have insisted that he should step down?
Well, you know, the truth of the matter is that those who are insisting that the chairman should step down are not saying that based on just on the judgment in Jegede against Akeredolu. People are saying that based on how they perceive that his leadership is likely to affect them in their different states and in the course of their own political career. If I were to speak solely on the basis of that, I should be one of those insisting that Buni must stand down. But at some point, we are Nigerians, and we must put the interests of the country above our personal interest. The truth of the matter is that for the past 1 year plus, this party has been trying to get its act together and to bring in a proper executive that will be in keeping with the constitution of the party and with the expectations of our members. Now the process is about to start, and people are then arguing that because of the judgment that does not directly impact the party at this point, we should scatter that whole process and start again from the beginning. I think that if somebody tells you that they are coming to set your house on fire, the proper reaction is not for you to now pour petrol on the house and burn yourself. Your reaction should be to plan how to defend your house and keep your house together. So I believe that a lot of those who are calling for Governor Mai Mala Buni to step down know that once that happens, the entire configuration of everything that we have put together will start all over again, which they think at that point may be to their advantage. But I don't think that that should be the only consideration for party leaders to look at now. In truth, is that if we were to stop this process now and start again from the beginning, there is no saying what other hitches we can run into. But the judgment of the Supreme Court in Jegede against Akeredolu does not at this point materially affect the All Progressives Congress. So we should go ahead and put our executive in place and begin sincere preparations for the 2023 elections, which is what any serious political party should be doing at this time.
Okay, Mr. Abe, are you not in danger of papering over cracks that may be apparent to many others? I'm speaking about the fact that the judgment, even though they had, it was divided 4-3, the ruling, apparently, all 7 judges agreed on this fact, that Section 183 of the 1999 Constitution, as well as Article 17.4 of the APC Constitution, essentially rendered the caretaker chairman and all the decisions he's taken hitherto and after voidable. And then you say that the Attorney General's position and other legal minds seem to have settled the issue. But reports coming from the meeting held with the Vice President, Osibajo, as delegated to him by the President, basically seem to say that he had suggested, or the decision was that the Congresses should be suspended on the basis that people like the SAN, Keyamo, and Osibajo and others disagreed with the position of the Attorney General. So I put it to you that perhaps things are not as clear-cut as you're making them out to be.
Well, I was not in the meeting you're talking about, and so I'm not in a position to know what was the outcome of that meeting. And I also do not know if that such position was communicated to the party and in what form that would have been communicated to the party. But I do know that I am a legal practitioner. And by law, from what I saw, even based on Keyamo's own argument, is that they said that the Supreme Court stated that the reason they did not look into the competence of Buni is because Buni was not a party to the case. And therefore, that any matter that they wish to resolve, any matter in which they wish to resolve that issue, Buni should be a party. That is what Keyamo himself stated as his understanding of the Supreme Court judgment. Now, Section 308 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is very clear on the point that a sitting governor of a state in this country enjoys total immunity from legal proceedings. And so Buni cannot be brought before any court until his immunity expired. So if the Supreme Court has stated clearly in black and white in the majority opinion, Buni must be a party, then of course they fear that we have a case to answer before Buni's immunity runs out. It becomes a non-starter because Buni cannot be sued until he ceases to be a governor. So we have time to finish what we are doing, install our executive, contest the elections before Buni can be sued. So how is anybody going to decide that matter now that the Supreme Court has said that Buni must be a party? He is no longer a nominal party to any court case in which this issue would need to be resolved. He has become a central party and he cannot be sued. That's the Constitution. So I think that rather than for us to waste time over these issues, we should address the fact that this party is not doing enough to enforce its own rules on its members, particularly the leaders and the godfathers in the party, who seem to have the ability to basically create their own rules regardless of what the party says. That, I think, is the biggest problem of the All Progressives Congress. It's not the threat of some...
All right, Senator Magnus Abe, would crave your indulgence to hold on to your thoughts. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll pick up the discussion from here.
You're still watching Newsday, and we're now set to continue the discussion with former Senator Magnus Abe, still discussing what people have perceived as the crisis rocking the APC party.
All right, okay, Senator, let's pick it up from where we last stopped before we went on the break. And I would like to find out from you, because some are saying that right now the APC is literally sitting on a ticking time bomb, because the internal wranglings between the party might hurt them come 2023. Understanding what happened in your own case with Tonya Cole leading up to the 2019 elections, and also what happened in Zamfara State. With this particular controversy splitting the party down right the middle, don't you think it might hurt the party going into 2023?
No, I think what you're describing are basically two different scenarios. if you're talking about the political challenges that the All Progressives Congress faces across many states, where key actors in the party refuse to accommodate other members of the party and refuse to obey the rules of the game, then that is a problem which every political party would have to face and would have to deal with that, because essentially politics is about the management of divergent interests. If you can't have a party in which everybody is going to agree. So if you have a party that has no effective solution or crisis management infrastructure, architecture within its fold, that party is bound to run into problems that it cannot solve. But if you're talking about the legal challenges which you expect will arise out of the judgment of the Supreme Court in Jegede against Akeredolu, I don't think that that is something for this party to worry about at the moment. First of all, no such order has been made by any court. The likelihood that anybody can secure an order at this point, dismantling the All Progressives Congress, on a scale of 1 to 100, I'll put the possibility at less than 25, because even the legal roadblocks that has arisen out of the case of Jegede against Akeredolu itself makes the resolution of that issue at this point very, very difficult to imagine that it can even take off. That said, when that issue gets before the courts, the lawyers will canvass different things, but it is not even before the courts yet. The problem the party is facing now is we're making rules and people disobey the rules we make, and the party says nothing. Okay, look at, for example, the case of Rivers State, which you alluded to. We had congresses. We have over 8,000 something positions across the wards in this state that are to be contested for. Now, even if you have just 2 people contesting each position, it means you have over 16,000 potential applicants for that position. Now, when the people got here, they made a rule that all those who are to take part in the game must come physically, individually, to collect these forms. That means over 8,000 people were supposed to show up and collect forms. Now, if you had 2 people for each position, that would have meant 16,000 people. But everybody was at the secretariat there. They saw that not one supporter of the minister came to the secretariat. But those who were perceived as not being with the minister were forced to come individually. And even when thousands of them converged on the secretariat, they were not given the forms. Now, we know that across this country, there is no place in the country where thousands of people gathered to collect forms. It didn't happen anywhere except in Rivers State because they had an agenda. But if we had not come, people would have said that, we're the ones who didn't want to obey the rules. But when the rules are clearly lopsided against certain people and the party says nothing, it would definitely lead to crisis. That is one. 2, in this state, the membership registration and revalidation was done. The party sent an appeal committee. The appeal committee came here and decided that the exercise was not properly carried out in Rivers State. And based on the recommendation of its own appeal committee, the party directed that the membership registration and revalidation committee should come back to the state and resume the exercise. The committee refused to obey that directive. The party again decided that the appeal committee itself should come to the state and resume the exercise. But the party never issued an open directive to the committee to come back. So the exercise couldn't take place. And this was a directive of the national secretariat of our party. But one single individual can stay in the state here and upturn it, and the party says nothing. So I think that this kind of behavior is a bigger threat to the All Progressives Congress than the possibility of some lawsuit that has not been filed, positions have not been canvassed, and if such a suit were to be filed, it will have to be head all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the evidence that will be before the Supreme Court at the time they will take a decision on that matter was not present before the court at the time they were deciding Jegede against Akeredolu. Neither are the arguments that will be canvassed by counsel on that point before the Supreme Court at the point that decision was being taken. So we cannot, on the basis of Jegede against Akeredolu and what clearly was a minority view and an arbiter in the case, now decide to dismantle everything that we have achieved over the past 1 year. Rather, it is for the party to come out strongly and let people know that when they say the party is supreme, the party is not only supreme to those who have no power. The party is not only supreme to those who have no money. The party is not only supreme to those who have no position, but the party must be supreme to governors, to ministers, to everybody, so that the interest of every member of the party is protected. If that happens, there will be peace in the party and we can move forward together. But if that does not happen, then that is a bigger threat to the unity, cohesion, and ability of the All Progressives Congress to overcome its challenges than the lawsuit that everybody seems to be talking about. That doesn't seem to me to be the greatest challenge that we're facing as a party.
Okay, former Senator Magnus Abe, thank you for making time for us here on Newsday. We do hope the APC manages to get its house in order.